Alibaba just released December quarter results, and so in this video, we're going to do a first look of those results. And so as you guys smash that like button, let me run that intro. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. The More Money Discord server is going off right now because everybody sort of has gotten up early to review these Alibaba results. It's like Christmas for nerds. And so let's dive into this and see exactly what happened. So you can see overall the market so far is digesting these results in a positive manner. The stock is up almost 4.5%, but of course, you know, there's no huge surge. And in the preview for this quarter, I expected that there wasn't going to be anything material coming out of this because we still were covering, this quarter ends in December, and so we're still covering a quarter that was largely impacted by COVID restrictions, and you're going to see that that they do call it out in the next section. So here's their press release that they issued, and so they did say that despite the fact that they delivered a solid quarter, there were still disruptions due to the impact of changes in COVID-19 measures. And so in other words, the quarter was impacted by restrictions, and those restrictions caused supply chain issues, logistics disruptions, and just general consumption slowdowns. And so we did expect that, and hopefully in the following quarter they're gonna get ahead of that, and that's kind of what Daniel Zhang is saying here. And so looking ahead, we expect continued recovery in consumer sentiment and economic activity. And so, yeah, I agree with him. I think that the next quarter and the next few quarters ahead will be much more positive as we get these almost never-ending COVID lockdowns in China behind us. And so, the cool thing is we expected them to be very heavy-handed in terms of repurchasing securities, especially in the last quarter when they were pretty cheap. And so they came out with $3.3 billion in repurchases, which is in the ballpark of what I was hoping. And so, I wish they did a little bit more, but hey, you know what? $3.3 billion is pretty good. And so I will quickly cover their highlights and then go into what I think was the most important parts of the quarter. And so, yes, revenue is up 2% year over year, so not bad. I was in my model expecting revenue to go backwards. And so the fact that it's up over the last quarter means that there's going to be an outperformance relative to the way that I'm valuing the company. And so the company's probably worth more than $227 per share, which is what I have them valued at. And so diluted earnings per share was $2.60 in US dollars for the ADSs. And, of course, you throw that on top of the current share price, and you realize that the company is still pretty cheap. And so let's move on. And so this is what I think the most important slide, and because it just shows a good visual of how the segments have performed during the quarter. And so as you can recall, that revenue is up 2% year over year. But here's the challenge, and this is what I called out in the preview that a lot of you guys watched. It's this customer management segment that we're all have our eyes on. And so you can see that the customer management segment did go backwards, and this is where Taobao and Tmall sit. And so those, it's their largest individual segment as well. And so all eyes are here, and it looks like this segment did get impacted by COVID restrictions, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when I break down the segment on its own. And so, hopefully we see this reverse in the next quarter, but right now it's the same story as it was last quarter. Now, international, notice how much international is outperforming. So this is 2, maybe 3 quarters in a row where international seriously has outperformed my expectations, and you will find that they are calling out the international outperformance largely due to Trendyol in Turkey, not necessarily Lazada. Now, Lazada has outperformed, but it's really Trendyol that's leading the outperformance. However, I did mention that we might go backwards in the next quarter for Trendyol as they are impacted by the natural disaster that struck there. And so Cineao has done pretty good, and I will dive into this a little bit more in the full video, but what I really wanted to look at was Cloud. Notice that Cloud continues to increase at a slow pace. They're up 3%. Part of this, of course, you guys know, is that they're impacted by the fact that TikTok went off of their servers, and so they're still seeing the year-over-year impact from there. But the other part of it is that, the cloud market is just growing slow right now. Like, it's nice that it's growing, but do we have to start revising our estimates for cloud growth with Alibaba? I'm not sure. I haven't committed to that yet, but I'm going to dive into this a little bit deeper in the full video. And so we will, in this video, go over exactly what they have to say about their cloud segment. And so let's start with China commerce. So once again, guys, it's the same story in Q3 with Taobao and Tmall. that they experienced in Q2, the ongoing weakness due to the surge in COVID cases has caused issues with consumption, but also just the related logistics disruptions have also caused them to delay products being sent to people. And so it's a challenging environment. It's nothing new. You guys have already read all about this in the last quarter. And so let's see if this improves in the following quarter. And I'll leave it at that. Now, interestingly enough, Taobao Deals has continued to expand the base of manufacturers that want to sell directly to their customers. Remember, Taobao Deals and Taocaicai are competitors to Pinduoduo, and so the fact that they came out a couple of years ago, I guess over a year ago, and Alibaba did, and they said that the fastest growing subsegments of the China commerce segment is going to be their Taobao Deals and their Taocaicai products, and they're really pushing to grow these out. And in terms of profitability, both Taobao Deals and Taocaicai are continuing to narrow out losses year over year, and they're doing that by optimizing their user acquisition and improving overall efficiency. And so I want to dig into this a little bit more. I hope they provide more information, especially in their annual report. I really want to know how to forecast this out and pull it out of the China commerce segment as a whole. I really feel that there's too much going on in here. I think that they need to pull out or separate out Taobao and Tmall and separate out Taobao or Taobao Deals and Taocaicai. It'd be interesting to be able to forecast those individually. Now, direct sales. Now, this is that Fresh Hippo segment and their grocery segment, the areas that I said that they are truly exceptional in and other companies cannot compete with them. This segment grew 10% year over year, and they're telling you that it's primarily driven by Fresh Hippo and Alibaba Health. Now, not a lot of attention is paid to Alibaba Health, but it's a fast growing business for Alibaba, and so Fresh Hippo delivered double-digit same-store growth and expanded its digital and physical footprints in targeted cities throughout China during the quarter. So in other words, opening stores even despite lockdowns, which is pretty interesting. I think Fresh Hippo is a very future-focused grocery store or just like retail outlet, and so I think that they have a lot of room for growth ahead of them, and it's very much like a CCP approved type of growth because you're creating jobs as well. Now let's quickly take a look at the international commerce segment. So you can see that overall the revenue in the international commerce segment increased 3% year over year, but notice they're saying that it was primarily driven by robust order growth of Trendyol. And so similar story to the previous quarter, but I do expect this to reverse in the next quarter. However, long term, I think that their investment in Turkey is going to play out. Now here's something cool that I didn't realize. In Turkey, with their Trendyol segment, notice that they have a local consumer services business in addition to the e-commerce business. I did not realize this. And, this is another area where I wish that they provided more information. I hope they do in the annual report so we can forecast this out separately from Lazada and AliExpress. Let's hope that they do provide more information, but they might not. But it's very cool to learn that they have a local consumer business that's helping to grow at Trendyol. And so when you think about local consumer businesses, think Eli.me. That's how I'm interpreting that. Now, in Southeast Asia, Lazada continued to see revenue growth. However, the big story is profitability. Notice Lazada continues to improve monetization rates by offering more value-added services to enhance operating efficiency. Now, this is a similar comment that we got in the last quarter as well. So I like the fact that profitability improvements is a focus here because they have competitors out there who are not focusing on profitability in Southeast Asia. And so the fact that Alibaba is a big win. It's very easy to lose money in this game, and so I like that they're calling this out. Now let's go to everybody's favorite, Alibaba Cloud. So revenue grew 3% year over year, and similar story to last quarter. Revenue from non-internet industries grew 9% year over year, and it's contributing to the majority of the overall cloud revenue, just slightly into the majority, but majority nonetheless. So nothing new in this quarter, and you're kind of hearing me say that over and over again as I go through every one of the segments, but that is just what happens with this particular quarter, and I'm hoping that in the final quarter we're going to have a different story as things really pick up and ramp up. And now here's the cool thing. What I really want to know about cloud is how are they doing internationally to build it out. And so notice that they're telling you that they added new data centers in Saudi Arabia, Germany, Thailand, South Korea, and Japan. and Alibaba Cloud now offers computing services in 28 regions and 86 availability zones globally. In fact, they're succeeding so well with their international growth aspirations that even the Wall Street Journal has taken notice, and I actually showed you that article in the preview. And so let's hope that this continues to grow. But the other thing is, we really need this growth rate to speed up. I recognize that, you know, the lockdowns may have stopped salespeople from going out and signing new contracts, etc. But I really hope that this picks up. They start growing this in line with their US peers. Otherwise, we're going to have to significantly discount the growth rate further for Alibaba Cloud. Now, I'm not prepared to do that yet, but I will do it if they don't provide meaningful guidance on this. Remember, guys, they did not have an investor day, so we are kind of blind with respect to how to look at Alibaba Cloud. I don't have any better information than you guys would have at this moment. And of course, finally, with the share repurchases, recall, guys, that they purchased 45.4 million ADSs, which is approximately $3.3 billion under their share repurchase program. So they have 2.6 billion ADSs outstanding, which represents approximately 21.3 billion. Recall, guys, in the last quarter that they actually increased their repurchase authorization, and they'll probably do that again. And so, you know, overall, the results are pretty much what we expected. I don't expect the share price to surge materially on the opening. However, depending on what Daniel Zhang provides in terms of an outlook for the subsequent quarter, or, you know, just how this particular quarter is performing right now, and so it just gives us a tell of how to predict the results for the subsequent quarter, you could see the shares surge materially on that. Now, I will cover any material items that come out in the conference call as it relates to any kind of guidance that could help us forecast more positively the final quarter and then subsequent years for Alibaba, and that will come out in the full video, which I will do. Remember that this is just the first look, and so pay attention to the channel because that will be coming out. So this is a great time to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already. Also, you know, while you're waiting for that, an analyst recently did come out and say that the Chinese listed names are expected to or could potentially run 20% this year. And so if you haven't seen that video, it's right here.